What's up, guys? We've got official BAJHEERA'S ARMY Twitch shirts for sale. Check them out at teespring.com/twitch/BAJHEERA'S ARMY. Enjoy. Hey, what's up, guys? BAJHEERA here. You're gonna have to excuse my little sick voice here, but I do have some pretty interesting information to share with you guys. Now, I don't always make videos for things like hotfix patch notes, but the hotfix patch notes for January 12th are especially interesting, and I'd like to share with you a few of these little bits of information. So let's just go right down the line. So first thing that we're seeing right now is that there are some changes to secondary stats. We're seeing that the haste stat is now 11.1% more effective. For example, characters at level 100 now receive a 1% per 90 haste, up from 1% per 100 haste. So that is going to affect classes that, you know, obviously it's going to affect everybody who has any sort of benefit from haste, which is essentially everybody. But I can see this affecting lots of things, like, you know, it makes casters just that little bit better. A lot of times when casters become the most powerful is later on in the expansions, where they have more secondary stats, for example things like haste. So probably not gonna make like a gigantic difference, but it could be a big deal. And one of the things that they're definitely wanting you to know is that please note that the following class tuning hotfixes are not active yet. These hotfixes are still undergoing testing and will be implemented as soon as possible. And so they're not in yet, but just transitioning from talking about haste, we're going to go down to Death Knights. And for the first thing that you see on Death Knight is that, in general, Blood Boils damages have been reduced by a third. But the second part of this is a little bit more important, especially considering what we just learned about haste, is that for Frost, Icy Talons now causes the Death Knights to gain a 20%, up from 5%, more of the haste stat from all sources. So they're already getting a little bit more haste just because everybody is, but now Death Knights also have a lot more haste. And when you play a Frost Death Knight, at least what I do is I am stacking haste on my Death Knight anyway, for faster rune regen, a little bit faster auto attacks, for more killing machine procs. So that could be kind of a big deal. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to harp on too many of these changes too much, but I did want to share them with you because I feel like these are especially important. And I'm always interested in class changes, and we're getting a lot of them here. So for Resto Druids, Rejuvenation has been reduced by 5%. Thrash, the direct damage has been reduced by 50%, but its periodic damage remains unchanged. Balance, their Mastery, Total Eclipse's effects have been increased by 6.7%. So a little bit more mastery for Boomkins. Same thing for Hunters, except theirs is 12.5%. Fire Mages, so similarly to how the Death Knights gained more haste from all sources, Fire Mages are going to receive more crit from all sources, 15% up from 5%, but Pyroblasters received a 5% nerf. So, and keep in mind, these are potential hotfixes. They're still testing them out, so keep that in mind. Prop Paladins, Sacred Duty now causes the Paladins to gain up to 30% instead of 5%, 30%. It's a 25% increase, more haste from all sources. And their Glyph of Alabaster Shield now increases the Shield of the Righteous damage by 3%, down from 10% per stack. So we're seeing a lot of haste tuning for a lot of different classes. That's interesting. Priest Power Word Shield's absorption has been reduced by 15%. Priests were like crazy early on, and I feel like they've gotten a little bit less crazy now. It's like substantially less crazy. You see a lot fewer priests in 3s, like high rated 3s. So this is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why they're nerfing a class that's kind of weak right now. But anyway, that's something that they're thinking about doing. Shamans, Fire Nova is going down to 6 Novas from 7, and Storm Strike is being buffed by 11.1% right there. Destruction, Devastation, they're getting more crit, kind of like Fire Mages. They're getting more crit from all sources, 15 up from 5, and they're getting more Mastery, 33%, just like, you know, a lot of other classes are receiving Mastery changes. Similarly to that, we're going to go down here to Warriors. In general, the Thunderclap's damage has been increased by 40%, and this is something that's really crazy. Mastery, so for arms, Weapon Master's effects have been increased by 57.1%. So if you're an arms warrior right now and you're, you know, pretty close to being fully geared, you're going to have about 100% of mastery effectiveness right now. And those effects are going to be buffed by 57.1. So that's crazy. So we saw that Whirlwind was nerfed, right? But now Mortal Strike, Colossus Smash, and Execute are going to hit crazy hard. So I'm really wondering how this is going to affect arms warriors in general. I mean, is arms going to just be hands down the best spec because it just deals so much damage? Or, you know, Fury is still a good option, I think. Fury's in a good spot right now for sure. But we're seeing this alone is going to make arms crazy. And then we also see prot buffs. So before we read these, I want to go down here and note that Gladiator Stance now increases damage by 5%, down from 20%. So this is this makes me laugh. Gladiator Stance is completely dead. However, if you wanted to play prot in PvP, this right here is a huge buff and actually makes prot better than Glad Stance was previous to this nerf. The Shield Slam Dispel is what really killed it initially. But this makes prot almost like you could just play it right now. Well, after the hotfixes go live. Deep Wounds damage has been increased by 40%. Devastate's damage has been increased by 20%. Revenge damage has been increased by 40%. And Shield Slam's damage has been increased by 20%. So, basically, prot deals as much damage as if you had spec'd Gladiator Stance, because it's getting 20% buffs across the board, and an extra 20% to make it 40% on Revenge and Deep Wounds. So, keep in mind that just playing prot in D-Stance allows you to use Shield Slam Dispel Glyph. So, I feel like this is putting prot potentially back on the map for PvP. Fury's already in a good spot right now. Arms was good before, and now it's getting buffed a pretty sizable amount, and now we're also seeing prot getting substantial buffs as well. So this is kind of crazy to think that every spec of warrior could be doing really, really well, and that's a good feeling. It's going to be interesting to test everything out, but I think the main thing is this. This is just nuts, but prot really does interest me. But I've been having fun playing Fury, and I think Fury will still be good where it is good right now. I'm just really curious to see how it'll interact with arms and prot. Another thing to note, just as I was scrolling down looking at these, this is an old change, but in here somewhere it says that abilities that heal based on percentage of total minimum maximum health, or what total maximum health, should now be correctly modified by healing debuffs or modifiers. So that means that Immortal Death Knights received another nerf, basically, because one of the strong things about that is that conversion sort of ignored dampening, but now it doesn't. So another sort of just side note, that was a January 8th hotfix. But anyway, don't want this video to get too long, but I did want to share these hotfixes with you. If you guys want to find them, this is just on the Blizzard website. You can go, they'll probably be on the front page, 6.03 hotfixes, and it has all of them throughout the weeks and months or whatever. But these in particular are pretty cool, and I wanted to share them with you, just because I feel like these could present some very interesting things for some of the classes that I play and some of the classes that you guys play as well, and some of the classes that have been a bit powerful throughout the course of the season. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, guys, our warrior buffs, huzzah, Death Knight buffs, what the heck. But anyways, guys, wanted to share these with you. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.